Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul, and we are
SP Film Viewers.
Well, Soph, unintentionally, seem to have a bit of a theme going on with the films we've been covering recently.
It's less than an hour and a half. Is that what you're going to say to me again?
No, but that was the sort of loose connection, I guess, with the other two we just did. But this one happens to be set on a train as well.
What is with you and trains lately? Like
Nothing, it's just...
I don't know, you're putting me off trains. I'm not going to lie.
Well, bad things happening on the commute.
Yeah, and it's like you're in this confined space.
Maybe not as bad as a lift, right?
I guess not.
Maybe
I
not
was
from a
weighing
height.
Yeah, but it's at least you've got other options with a train, whereas a lift you can't go anywhere. So a lift would be worse, I guess.
Move forward. You can normally get off the train and walk.
Yeah, but I mean, there's other carriages, isn't there, on a train? Whereas the lift, you're just stuck in that one space, so a lift would be worse.
Yeah, that's true. But this is something I wanted to see for a while, and just so happens that the rental service I use came through, and this is what came. So quite happy and excited to see this one. But it's a horror.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. We're not even in Halloween yet.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to have many Halloween ones this time because of when it falls for, a certain event
Ooh,
coming
what
up.
that might be. I wonder why she planned it that way. So if listeners don't know, we're getting married basically on the 29th of October this year. Fingers crossed and toes crossed, everything goes all right.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably, I'm sure, I can't imagine you're not going to say no Halloween specials.
No, there might be not a full... Well, no, I don't think it will be a full month. And certainly not into November as well, because we're obviously away at that point as well, so there might be a brief period where there's no episodes. But we just have to see how the plan goes.
Yeah.
With everything going on.
Be fine.
Yeah, so getting a horror theme one in amongst...
Oh, the smallest violin compared to screwing me over last year on Christmas.
I think you'll be alright this time. Christmas films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to pick that up and do it even more. Because we've left the listeners a long time, so they'll be yearning at that point for us that we'll have to do something special for Christmas.
Do with some cold weather though, it's a bit warm in it at the moment.
Oh, it's absolutely sweltering. It's so warm. I don't think us Brits can cope with this amount of heat. We just don't know what to do with ourselves.
No, it's a bit crazy. I don't think if I were in the States or whatever, or any hot country.
Well,
I'd
they
just
would have
be
aircon. They would be more prepared for it.
Yeah.
And as well, their heat isn't as bad as ours. Ours is quite humid with it, whereas theirs isn't. It's a different kind of heat.
Well, you know best. I haven't been to the Americas.
Well, to be fair, I didn't go in the summer, so...
Well, there you go then.
Anyways, on to the film.
Yeah. So the film is called Train to Busan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Korean film. So it's similarly like Parasite.
We've watched Squid Game as well, so I know I quite enjoy Korean kind of films and series, so
yep,
that's good.
Came out in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, just the fact it's been on some of my radar, I've heard good things about it. I don't know what, particularly in terms of what it's going to do different in terms of the zombie apocalypse type of scenario, other than the fact that it's on a train. I presume maybe not the entire time, but...
I don't know, I really don't think a zombie apocalypse would scare me.
No?
No, because they're stupid, aren't they, zombies? So I feel like...
It depends on how they're portrayed, whether they're just the slow, sluggish ones.
Well, the films that I can think of, the zombie films I've seen, Shaun of the Dead, the Anna Apocalypse one, and this one that we when we first went to Scotland, and it was the film festival.
It was called Miss Zombie, I think.
Oh, it was horrible. I hated that film. That put me off zombie films. That did.
That was Japanese, though.
It was Japanese, and it just seemed very crass and a bit morally wrong.
I don't know. I think, if I'm right in thinking, I don't know if it was just because it was warm or what was on screen. I obviously can't really visually remember much about it, to be quite honest, sadly. But
I can.
It felt a bit queasy from it.
Yeah, because it was gross.
So, but I don't know if it would be as gross as I'm making it out. I thought it at the time. I don't know, but.
Do you remember what happened?
I can't really no, because without seeing it again, I wouldn't know how to explain or go like, oh yeah, that's. I
know what happened. It was rapey.
Oh,
it was like falling in love with a dead zombie person, but not
into how much was shown is what I mean.
Yeah.
But anyway,
just even the thought of it was just a bit blah. So I don't really rate zombie movies.
Yeah. There's only a select few that are really good. It's not one with I much love horror. It's not ones that I like. Or must see as another zombie film because, like the Walking Dead TV series, is seems a bit of a joke really because it's just that each episode's the same thing. It's like let's run through one location. Oh, find some supplies. Oh, like there's zombies here. Let's move on to the next one, and it's like on.
I enjoyed the game, so I think.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoyed the game.
That was
a
bit more interactive, though. You felt a bit more attached to them, if that makes sense. Obviously, people like the show, so it's.
I've not really seen the show that much, I think probably because you haven't really thought much of it, so we haven't really watched it.
I've seen part of the first season, it just didn't grab me, so no pun intended if there's one there about being grabbed by zombies. But
yeah.
So, anyway, I'll read what seems like the very sort of basic-ish synopsis that kind of tells you pretty much, you know what might happen anyway. But I hope I'm saying this name right. Seek Woo and his daughter are on a train to Busan on her birthday to see his wife. However, the journey turns into a nightmare when they are trapped amidst a zombie outbreak in South Korea.
It sounds a bit scary. Mm-hmm. Just the thought of I think, yet again, just thinking of a train and it moving and you being stuck. I think that's the bit where it might be problematic. But then we'll have to see what comes of it. It depends on what the zombies are like.
Yeah.
If they're like quite docile, then just like
how much of an impact they're gonna.
Like the Anna in Apocalypse ones, they were more like. You could literally run away from them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's typically when I think zombies. That's how they should be. But...
So if they're like that, I don't think I'll be too scared. Like, but what's the rating of the film? Do you know?
Might be 18.
Oh, okay.
I imagine it's going to be pretty gory, or might be toned down to 15 now. I don't know, based on how it goes. So one of those two, anyway. It's not 12. I don't think.
It's a shame. Is Anna in Apocalypse 12?
No, it was 15.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
18.
I'm
not entirely sure, actually.
I think it probably 15. I don't think it was that gruesome, to be fair. I managed with that quite fine.
No, things have to be really shocking now to be 18 now.
I don't think I should be allowed to watch an 18.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like the original Halloween, the John Carpenter one, was originally 18, but now I think it's bumped down to 15 because there's not much blood and gore and stuff. But again, I think scorings generally can change over time. For rating systems, films. But reassessing things like is that as scary as crass as it is? But anyway, so we'll have to see what.
I'm not going to say I'm really looking forward to seeing this really. With just a horror zombies.
I'm just hoping for something pretty either gripping or
the only thing
gut punching in some way with getting to know your characters or something.
The only thing you've got though is it's Korean, so that might perk it up if it's going to be like Parasite.
Yeah, maybe not some stupid characters. Like if it was an American one, it'd be like, oh my god, like what if you American style.
Comedy
thing or something, or people just acting really stupid. Yeah. So
over exaggerating.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, so we'll speak to you shortly.
Welcome to Review It Yourself, the film podcast. I am so bad at this. So bad at this stuff. I hate, this selling yourself. I know that's kind of the point because you need people to listen to you. But, like, I'm not naturally enthusiastic. Like, if I love a film like The Mummy or something like that, I'm the 1999 one. Not that filth. Not that 2017 filth. See? Passionate. But I don't have that natural enthusiasm. So, you know, I struggle to sell myself, you know, sell my podcast. Look, it's me, Sean, just talking to other people who like talking about films. We waffle, we have a chat. No real structure to it. But yeah, come and give it a go.
And we are back on another scorching day. We've had time to reflect on what we saw last night. And yeah, a lot of emotions
Oh
going
my
on
god.
from this film, honestly. Which,
Like
yeah.
you're on a train coaster instead of a roller coaster. I just want to start with the opening scene of this man.
Yeah, I mean, it goes straight in to the whole, you know, quarantining, apocalyptic scenario. There's no time wasted with that, really. No, like, setting it up like, oh, some, you know, like they do in some films where it's like, oh, happy families, and then there's a new breaking news, there's something going on, and it's like, oh, they just ignore it, and then it kind of goes from there.
And he's not actually even a main character, really. He's just like this bypasser, basically getting through to a different city.
Yeah.
But he runs over a deer. Now, I have never thought, I don't know why, but I never thought for some reason a zombie apocalypse would affect animals. And my other part of my issue is, and I don't know if I need to learn a little bit more about zombies, is I thought it was when you got bitten you became a zombie.
Yes, it's normally, yeah.
So this deer got knocked over, unless it had already been bit prior.
I think it probably had done or it been contaminated because there was footage after the fact, so it's saying about the fish, you know, again, poisoned water type of thing, so there could be some chemicals leak from that as well, which kind of stirring the infection up. So, I mean, there's potential that you have zombie fish. Or
have you ever thought that an animal could be a zombie? Like that? This is the first time.
It's not. I mean, there's been other films in like the not the Dawn of the Dead, but like other of the Dead films where I think there's been. I'm sure there's one with a alligator or something.
Well, I was thinking how scary. Like if this is like an innocent deer, so like that won't. I can't see that causing you much harm.
Well, but but you'd be like, oh, there's a deer, and then it runs at you and starts biting rabid deer, bites you, which again that would be pretty shocking because you don't expect a deer to.
Well, no, you'd expect it to run in the opposite direction.
Exactly. Yeah, not at you.
But imagine a more gruesome animal, let's say like a lion, became.
Well, I think there's been a tiger in one of Romero style, like again, Dawn of the Dead. I don't know if a remake or something. It was on Netflix, but I never checked it out because I wasn't very interested. Army of the Dead, it was called or something. But I think there was a tiger in that was a zombified.
That sounds horrifying.
Yeah. Like, so actual dangerous beast. Yeah.
Like ripping you up into bits. Like I can imagine that spreading like wildfire. To be fair. Mm-hmm. So I was
not expecting a zombie deer. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I really wasn't. I know, like in Japan, they have Nara, the city, where you can kind of go and you can feed the deers, and they are quite more pet-like.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this is what these deers would be like. So, whereas our deers, you don't get a look in the UK. They'll be off before you could even touch it.
Yeah.
So then it swiftly kind of brings you to this businessman, and you know what people are like within like the Asian kind of.
There's some kind of stereotyping.
No, they are so hardworking in comparisons to us. So their business skills and like work is a higher level of what we would even put in.
Yes.
And I feel like work is one of those like top kind of priorities for them, like their career.
To an extent, yeah, but this does tread similar cases with, you know, like other non-foreign films, like American, like the dad who's like, you know, like you see him in like most of the comedies things, don't you? Like, the guy's got like a daughter or son or something, he doesn't get a chance to see him because he's so busy at the office being, a lawyer or
But I think this is
those
even
kind of things. And it's like,
even worse because like his business is like his be all and end all, and I think in like certain these cultures, it is harder to kind of get that break because even the companies themselves expect you to be that driven within a working environment. So we've got the dad. I'm going to leave it to Paul to try and pronounce names.
Thanks. Yeah, I did have to write them down because I'm thinking I can refer to his dad, but in this first case, I'll say his actual name, which is Seuk Woo.
And then we've got the daughter
called Suan, which seems a lot easier to
Suan,
say.
yeah. And it seems to be a bit of an oddly relationship. So it's like me and you being married, but we don't live together anymore, but we have a child.
Right, why is that odd?
Because I think they've separated, but they're not. It's like they've not divorced, and they've got like a bit of a rough patch going on within their relationship.
Okay.
Which seems like they'd either want to work it out or they're not going to ever get. And
it makes it sound like, from what I gathered, no.
Also, the daughter, I don't know why she's with the dad. Why she's not with her mum. Because she seems to cling on to her mum. Like, she's constantly on the phone to her. And
we never see her, though, do we?
No, we never see her.
Yeah.
We don't
Which is kind of interesting.
We don't even know at the end if
just
she's
hear a voice
okay or not either.
Yeah, and she's, again, it's his mum, i.e. her grandmother, who's kind of like looking after her through the day or whatever, when he's busy at the office and stuff.
Which is fair enough, that is a perk of having grandparents, they're there to help and support you.
It kind of feel like it kind of reminded me of a different film we'd seen a while ago, the scenario with that. Oh no, sorry, I'm actually thinking of Squid Game itself.
Yeah.
Where he's leading that and his mother and living in living at his place.
And he's got a daughter and he doesn't really
But he
much.
seems more of a douchey in Squid Game than this father seems to have. He's very busy, but he seems kind of caring, even though he does, gives her a wee. And then she's already got one.
Yeah, we had to Google what Children's Day was. That's not something we have over here.
No, I've never heard that term. No.
So I think it's equivalent of like Mother's Day and Father's Day, but I think it's for more countries that are
less fortunate.
Yeah, I'd say. Mm-hmm. The only thing is, I don't know if depending on what their religious beliefs are, they might not have like we would have Christmas, where
perhaps,
people do get lots of gifts around that time. So maybe that's why Children's Day was created.
Don't know, but I learned something there.
And Suan is, she's a lovely little girl and loves her granny to bits, and her mum, and she doesn't really have that connection with her dad. That's why it makes me wonder why she wasn't full custody of her mum, unless there's some reason her mum couldn't look after her. Like her dad's impact in the relationship isn't really there.
No, not at this point anyway.
And for example, she has like a play or something that she sings in.
Yeah.
And or like an assembly where parents can come, and she realises her dad's not there when she's mid singing, and then she stops and then everybody laughs at her. And it just shows how much a child does actually depend on the parents. And I don't know if we're ready for that or not. Not attending something or...
Oh, no. I don't think I'm not too worried about that being a problem with, I'm going to get to the school assembly or dance recital or whatever kind of...
Is that meaning because you'll be there?
Yeah. It's no. Again, it's one of the almost like cliche things, isn't it? It's like, yes, I'll be there, son, or to your baseball game, Billy, and then, oh no, something came up, and it's like, oh, there's the straw that broke the camel's back from the mother of the child saying.
I feel like it might be you'll be there, and then I'll end up not being able to get time off or something.
But anyway, so so I've obviously kind of built that kind of like rocky relationship between the two of them, but I think it's kind of it is, well, we know obviously we haven't watched the film, it's kind of obvious that it's kind of like they're going to bond in some way through this experience that they're going through really on the train, and it doesn't waste a lot of time without either kind of like throwing that into the mix with the whole like infection starting from the get-go because some random person that runs onto the train. Although I don't know how the conductor did not see that person run onto the train.
But the thought of it being on a train with somebody who can actually just like bite you, it did remind me of COVID a little bit, where like
this was obviously before this was even
wearing a mask and don't want to breathe because it's like you're in that confined capsule space.
Where nobody wearing masks in this.
No, but that's kind of like the COVID side of it, isn't it? It's like, like if you're on a train and then you realise there's this deadly disease that's going round.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with being on a train and a zombie being on there. And you need to quarantine and are you infected? All of these words that normally you watch a movie like that where there's a crisis that you wouldn't relate to it being as...
Yeah, that's what happened type of thing, do you mean?
Yeah, like, whereas you kind of think, oh, well, yeah, this is what COVID was like. And, everybody has to stay at home. And I'm like, well, is that the best idea for everybody if they've a zombie apocalypse? I don't know.
What do you mean is the best idea?
For everyone to stay indoors. Because...
It's the government thing, don't panic type of thing, and just, they think they know what they're doing, but... Yeah, you get to a point with scenarios like it's like how is it beneficial? Because what if some lunatic tries to break in or that kind of thing? In those kind of scenarios, he's not safe either way. Keep moving. You might get attacked, fall over, whatever. But it's tricky.
But these zombies, like the first scene with this zombie girl on the train, she's very weird movements, and it's a bit more like fast-paced, like the way that they do run at you. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a little bit scarier.
Yeah, I kind of accepted how it turned out because I was thinking, oh, is this going to be... Because obviously seeing it moving faster and everything like that was a bit like, oh, right, okay, it's this type of zombie then, the speedy zombie. It was like, how is that even...
I didn't know there was a speedy zombie. I've never encountered this. So I was like, God, this is absolutely horrific and terrifying.
But I kind of got used to it after a while and really just accepted it for what it is.
It makes it scarier.
Yeah.
It does, because like...
The way they move, like, almost broken limbs and
It
spider...
reminds me of Stranger Things a little bit, when Vecna kind of...
break the
breaks
bones.
The bones, yeah.
Or any other horror film where someone's going...
Oh, it's
creaking
awful.
And stuff, yeah. But I think that was... I'm pretty sure there was partially sped up footage on the movements in post-production. There's no way there were people actually running and moving their arms in weird
made me feel
positions
sick. And the way that they ran at you, the first train scene of where everyone's kind of getting bitten, it's really gory. It is a bit like, whew, okay, well,
yeah.
This is kind of film we're going into.
Really doesn't, in a sense.
Well, no, because there's no such thing as zombies yet.
No, I know that, but I meant in terms of like the violence, not just like, oh, that looks really fake blood.
No,
type of like some zombie films will do, and it's like that's suspension of disbelief there, but this kind of makes it more impactful seeing that way. So they did a good job with that, and the glazed eyes and everything. Yeah, like the deer. But it seems that their movements is like what differentiates them from other zombies, I suppose, is the fact that their mode of attack is based on vision. So if it goes dark or they can't see anybody in close proximity, not like, oh, I can smell people.
I thought it was hearing with zombies.
Oh, no, sorry, it is that as well, but you mean like literally like, oh, I can't see anyone, so therefore there's no one there.
Yeah.
So, like, when it started sticking like newspaper on the glass and wetting it, it's like, oh, okay, they calmed down a little bit now. But obviously, if you made noise, like you fumbled around and that was still up, would they still try and get through or not?
Depends on how loud I think the noise was. Like, if your phone started ringing, then yeah. Yeah,
because that happened a couple of times, obviously, for distractions. But, like, again, back to, we talked about video games the last time as well, but, like, on video games, that's kind of like one of those, like in Last of Us, which is, again, like kind of post-apocalyptic world, and there's these creatures that are blind, but they pretty much rely on any sound to detect you. So you have to be really quiet, and you use like shrapnel grenades and stuff to make some noise and obviously get them over to one side of the room so that you can get to the other side of the room and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it does seem quite interesting to think that if they can't see you, they won't hurt you or go after you.
Yeah.
And it just feels like a little bit like a game, the way that they have to get past them later on on the train. Yeah, it does feel like that kind of next level. Oh, we've got to that cart. Right, we need to do this and that.
Yeah. Like there was one instance where they had to climb up on the overhead baggage part in the dark when the train was going through a long tunnel. So that's pretty intense and quite a creative way of getting past it, as opposed to just, here's another thing of just punching our way through the thing. And I mean, it's not like in an action film with just regular people. If you punch and win somebody, normally that's it, or you knock them out and this thing. But because obviously zombies, you pretty much have to break the necks or something. But again, you haven't got time to stand there and go that way of killing them off. Or they obviously didn't have any guns or anything like that, which is, obviously, just shoot them in the head and then that'd be it. But
well, that's what it would be if it was an American film.
Yeah, I think so. So I guess that's
everyone would have a gun in the bag, or
just count me many pistols and AKs, whatever. Yeah.
We do kind of see a soft side of the dad within this of Sue-Ann's. So he gets a phone call off his mum, and he does seem quite close towards his mum, and he's kind of she's checking up on him, making sure he's okay, and so is Sue-Ann. And you can kind of see that the granny isn't. She's been bitten, I'm assuming.
Yeah. It's all like done over the phone, and you just tell from that it's kind of like, she's in a bad situation. She's either been bitten or she's amongst it all and about to get attacked.
Yeah, it sounded like she'd kind of just been bitten, I think, and then was turning.
Call again, another phone call, like to say, limited time, say I love you or whatever. Yeah.
Just put your life into perspective.
Yeah.
And Paul just wants a sandwich, They also did something really funny, which is just like typical government kind of idea of, we'll collect these zombies, pick them up or whatever, and then drop them.
Yeah, drop them in. Yeah, it was really weird.
And then these poor people were just stood there, like, trying to sort something out, and then got attacked in, like, the space of, like, 5 minutes, not even that, because they thought,
5 seconds, because it works pretty fast, this virus does.
Yeah. And it's like, who thought of that? But then, if you think about COVID, there's plenty of things when people thought, who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah.
And it still was.
Yeah. But a couple of other characters of note, particularly. There's this guy called Sanghua, who he's the
soon to be dad.
Soon to be dad, yeah. And his pregnant wife, who's called Sung Gyeong. So there's that relationship between those two characters. He calls him an arsehole to the main dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I forget now why exactly that.
I know why. So it's something to do with the doors. He shut the door on them outside.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And they were just about to come, and he shut the door on them. He did let them in again, though.
Yeah.
He did, but there was zombies there, and he had to fight them off. And it's like, well, I was thinking of everybody else on this cabin,
on side,
and just the fact of you two there. You know, I'm having to put a lot more people before you, basically.
Yeah,
so he wasn't really the business dad.
Yeah.
Of Sue-Ann's wasn't really being an arsehole.
No.
It wasn't really.
Unlike some other characters.
He was thinking of the odds of the numbers. Yeah. It's like, there's 2 of them, there's 15 on here.
Yeah.
So we need to save the majority, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I think he kind of is thinking of it that way, but also he's trying to look after Sue-Ann in the best possible way.
Mm-hmm.
But the 2 new characters that you do get with what are the names? I've got pregnant lady. Yeah. What's her name again?
Sung Gyeon.
Yeah. Okay. And the soon-to-be dad.
Yeah.
They've already seemed to be like ready to be parents. They're really excited, and
he seems quite caring as well. He's like, she's in the bathroom. It's like, are you okay? Maybe type of thing. Yeah. And
really, really caring towards them, and they kind of see Sue-Ann's dad a little bit as a not their dad, and they've already judged him.
He's judged him quite swiftly on that, or he has anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't named his soon yet to be born baby though, for some reason. So the unknown baby's called Sleepy.
I quite like that. I think it's really cute because he or she is sleeping.
Yeah, sleeping away.
Sleeping away until she arrives or he arrives.
Mm-hmm. But they eventually get to a point where they come off the train, anyway, briefly. I think it's to get into the quarantine zone. But Sue-Ann and her dad are like, well, he's more like, right, let's go this way because you don't want to be... He had a phone call or something about, like, oh, you're going to be quarantined. Someone is going to, drop in to help them get out of the area a lot quicker and safer.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like, oh, you only care about yourself type of scenario, which is, yeah. In some situations like this, you kind of have to be.
And then she said that's why Mummy left.
Yeah.
And that's just like, oh, that's gut-wrenching for a little child to say that to you. Mm-hmm. How old do you think Sue-Ann is? Like, is she about 5 or 6?
I'd say so, yeah. Quite young.
And she's kind of like, no, we should be with the other people. They've tried to help us and we should all kind of...
Although, again, kind of works in her favour because it turns out all the military people that are on the other side are already been infected anyway. So...
And that was absolutely horrifying. That was, think about it, the way that they all mass ran to you. The fit military men, so they're going to be able to run...
The average person, yeah.
Yeah, faster. And there's a swarm of them now running at you while you're on an escalator, which is going down, and you can't go barely back up it.
That's not easy,
No.
So, yeah, a lot of casualties there.
And, yet again, the lovely... he's so lovely, is the soon-to-be dad, picks up his pregnant wife, puts her round onto the steps, he's running after her, and he's really kind of the person you'd want to be in that scenario, not the actual selfish asshole. You'd want to be kind of helping out others, but also making sure your own is looked after. And I think I kind of said to you, didn't I? It kind of shows you what kind of person you are. Like when it came to the amount of toilet roll crisis we had with COVID, like
good comparison, yeah.
You know, would you give somebody your last toilet roll or not?
Not quite the same in the zombie apocalypse, but yeah.
Like, you know, it's just those well, that's what the crisis was, wasn't there? It was like there's no toilet paper, there was no food, and
there was food.
Not everything was there though. So people panic buying.
And there was toilet paper. To be fair, it's just that people were just greedy, and it's just like when it snows. Oh, they think there's no milk ever going to be made ever again, so you have to get milk and bread in just in case we're snowed in.
But then it's like, why milk and bread? What's that going to do? It's not going to make you a full-on meal, is it?
It's just the basics, isn't it?
So they end up trying to get back on the train, basically.
Or a different train, yeah.
Yeah, because of these zombies. So you do have as well, I don't know if we touched on this kind of, what looks like a homeless man that's like kind of lost the plot.
No, we didn't touch upon him, no.
And he's kind of like, we're all going to die. They're going to kill us. We're all going to die. And you would probably look at him in real life if there wasn't a zombie apocalypse and think he kind of lost his marbles a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not the case. He ends up wanting to go with Sue-Ann and her dad.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to be quarantined either, and he thinks clearly they're the better option to go with. Yet Sue-Ann's dad doesn't really do anything for him. But in the middle of it all, when these military zombies are coming into the train station at this point and everyone's running away, he actually helps him by putting a coat over one of the zombie that's attacking him to kind of
blind the
but
cover out the
he learns that
eyesight. Yeah.
So they learnt that on the train. Obviously, the pregnant ladies did that.
Yeah.
And then obviously, but then it's like, well, maybe we should have done something and utilised that knowledge sooner rather than later. I feel like they didn't utilise it as well as they could have done.
What would you suggest for that then? Because there's so many zombies, you couldn't just put coats over the top of the...
I don't know, could you put all the blinds down? Could you turn the lights off?
Hide under a box? Kind of move along?
No, because I think it's still moving.
Yeah, no. But I'm just thinking, what's out of eyesight for them to think that's a human behind?
Yeah. But the fact that this homeless kind of man does that for Sue-Ann's dad, it's like, why when he's not actually been...
There's a lot of this in the film. It's like people either being selfless or selfish, really. There's the contrast between the two, and it's. I think it's just showing, in a crisis like this, who you are really. and how you act to other people.
Yeah, it's a hard one because like I would love to be that person that's like the heroic one that helps everybody else. But to be fair, I would put my loved ones first. I probably know that.
That's normally the case. You try and...
If I could try and help somebody else and not jeopardise somebody that I love, then fair enough. But if it was jeopardising helping somebody that I really cared about and helping someone I don't know, then to me that would be a no-brainer. I'd be helping my loved ones. So this is where we get the really good scene where I think it kind of character builds really well. Is we're back on the train. We've got certain people on a car where there's nobody infected and they're all okay. But then you kind of get your main leads here. So you've got Sue-Ann and her dad. You've got the pregnant lady. You've got the soon-to-be dad. The kind of homeless-looking man. And some of the teenage boys that...
from like the sports jocks type of
are they
equivalent.
Like... what's it called? Basketball.
Baseball,
yeah.
Baseball team, something like that, yeah.
Because they've got
those is it varsity jacket types.
And they had bats, which was convenient, yeah.
Yeah. Always handy for these situations to bash meds in. Yeah. So, and there's like a girl who's like cheerleader, I guess, or something, or just somebody who's interested in one of the lads.
Bless him, he's so shy and reserved as well. He's not even interested in her. I think he is by the end, but he's a bit more, stop making everybody draw attention to me. Yeah.
There's like a scenario where he's obviously comes back to see all his peers that are been infected on the train, and he's like, the typical like, I can't face the fact of having to kill them because these guys I've known for however long and
they're my
stuff.
friends.
Yeah.
It's like me being a zombie and you having to kill me.
That kind of thing. Yeah, it's tough.
But I think they do really well of how they get through the trains, and it shows certain characters, and I think it kind of the relationship for Sue-Ann and her dad is building in there, and then I think even the soon-to-be dad is kind of respecting Sue-Ann's dad a bit more. The kind of that resentment's kind of gone, and they're working as a team.
Yeah. I think there's a quote where he said, one of them said, is like, when daughter grows up, she'll understand like the sacrifices you have to make to be. Yeah, no, it's him. The soon-to-be dad, because he's like, it's like that. It's tricky to, you put the work in and you get like nothing back, because it's like you're only trying to provide for your family, and just because you're not seemingly not there for your child, then it's you're a bad parent because you're not doing the daily diaper changes or.
But you're doing the grind
feeding,
of helping bring the income in.
The money, the bacon. So So it's a well trodden story in that, but it's there's truth in it. It's like and that's for speaking because I'm a man, but we sometimes get a bit of a bad rap on that a little bit. I think for if you not putting the effort in as much as the wife or girlfriend might not think.
I think, to be fair, just women normally have that more mothering kind of demeanour where they are more kind of affectionate and caring, and you can kind of see that.
Yeah.
Where I think a man is normally more reserved. Yeah. And I think that's when you don't see it as visible. It doesn't mean it's not there, though.
But in terms of arsehole men, actual arsehole men, the character of, I think it's called Yon Suk, which is he does suck. His character is pretty despicable, really, in terms of how he's like comes across. Like he's just like, come on, let's get the train moving. He's very much thinking about himself of getting to Busan and everything, and he's the earliest opportunity, if he's in trouble or whatever, he's kind of, I'll just throw somebody else in the way of the zombies and get them to be attacked, and it's like, just close the door now. Let's go.
I kind of understand by the end of it why he was like that.
Doesn't justify it though.
No, it doesn't. Because
a lot of there was an instance where the train conductor guy, whatever, was like, he sees him running away from the zombie, he trips and falls. Yeah. He's like, I'll go help him. But then as soon as the zombies start coming towards him, the train conductor, asking him for help, he's like, help me, and then he just carries on running away. Yeah. So it's like, well, thanks, man, I just got you out of a situation, why aren't you helping me? Yeah, so there's no instance It's like,
And on the train, when it's the safe train cabin, and he's kind of manipulating everybody to kind of say, don't let the others in.
Yeah,
they're infected.
You can see it in your eyes, and it's like,
no, you can't.
No, because you've seen how quickly they turn.
I'd have gone, fine, have a look at my body, check, make sure I haven't got any bites. But, really, they should have just all been able to stay on that cabin. But he was the one, yet again, causing the trouble. And I think once he does get bitten, he kind of says he wanted to get to Busan to get home to see his mum.
Yeah.
And I understand it, but the way that you've gone about it, I don't think his mum, even if she was alive, would be best pleased at how he survived.
Yeah, but he's not going to say that, is he? So, I'd get in here, I killed, sacrificed a lot of people just so I didn't die myself. But
yeah.
Anyway, to the, putting the fear in the other people about whether the main cast people are infected or not.
Mm.
I mean, it kind of sort of falls flat anyway, because they get shown to another side of the carriage a little bit further on in the whatever, and then one of the other two characters, like the elderly sisters, one of them has already been taken.
Yeah, that's because they wouldn't shut the door. They shut the door, and they wouldn't let everybody in, and they were prattling around. Like if they'd have not prattled around and let everybody in, there would have been ample of time for everyone to get on that cabin safe and sound. Yeah. I don't blame her. Her sister got bit. And
she was thinking of others, saving the others, and the other sister's like, well, why did you do it? You're so stupid, type of thing. In kind of like, not a nasty way, but kind of like on reflection, the situation, like, I can't believe you did that, kind of thing. But for some reason she decides to open up the cabin as well. I don't know.
I think it's fine. I love her for it. It's like, these people are selfish assholes. You were trying to put people first and you're still in the same situation. So they deserve to be zombified. I think that's what she was thinking in her head. And to be fair, I think the rage would have got me to that point of, well, there's no right or wrong here. Being good doesn't get you anywhere, and being an arsehole shouldn't get you anywhere.
But now we're kind of at the back end, and it's kind of like the big sort of like gut punchy aspect to it, when the father, Suan's father, sacrifices himself to stop this Yonsu guy, because he's still holding him as bites him, and then it's like throws him off the train and kind of chains himself down, and almost like once, because I know I've been bitten, I've got to call back on, like, from coming after you type of thing. And so obviously then there's the emotion, like, just, although that is maybe a bit inconsistency for the guy, the Yonsuk guy, because it's like he had to explain he was clearly infected at that point, and he was talking normally. Like,
it does take a little bit of time though, didn't it? Because before.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it seems like wildly inconsistent with how quickly somebody can turn.
It's the same with Suan's dad.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He didn't.
The other guy, the soon-to-be dad, obviously he got bit first, and he was holding the door for ages.
Yeah.
While he was getting bitten.
Yeah.
But Suan's dad, he seems to develop a lot. Looking after, like, the pregnant lady, he takes everybody on, and he's like the new kind of hero then. Mm-hmm. And by the time that he does get infected, you've seen the full character circle of him being a business corporate man to being a family man looking out for everybody.
Yeah.
And yes, it does take a while for him to be infected.
I can tolerate that part, because he wasn't like immediately like, right, I've got the it was because he had the guy had the glazed eyes, and he was talking like he was normal, and then suddenly he just shut down and went, oh, I'm a zombie now. Now I've said what I've said. Whereas when Suan's dad was doing it, he just been bit, but it hadn't taken much of effect. But he still looked normal. Yeah. Until after the fact, he kind of left his daughter in the cabin with the pregnant mother.
But I feel like that's similar to Anna and the Apocalypse. I feel like that. Yeah. Certain ones, like her dad, seemed to restrain it more than others getting bit and infected.
Yeah. But I think that's more of a story beat thing as well. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because obviously that's where the emotional.
It made me cry. It did, because like they've just.
No, I'm not saying it didn't make me cry, because it did a little bit, but the bit after that was more so. With when he's like having a reflection on his life, like when you've seen like holding her as a baby the first time, it's like, oh, You've got me now. Anything to do, with seeing newborn, like, oh, it's my precious baby and everything and that kind of thing. It just makes it like, oh, and obviously got the music and everything. It's like really touching and everything. It's like,
you look like you want to well now, bless you.
Yeah.
But it was more the don't go bit that was her and Sue-Ann
just...
as an actress, as a little actress. Oh my God, what she had to think of to portray screen, that and do that and be crying her eyes out. I don't think I could have done that at that age. And it was just like, it was absolutely getting me so upset because she knew her dad was not coming back. And it's like, don't go. And it's like, it's not like just, she's going to school, don't leave me. And he's going to come back at the end of the day.
No.
He's never coming back.
No.
I was like, I can't cope. And she did a brilliant job of that.
Being
She's going to be a brilliant actress when she grows up, even more so, like, with experience.
This might sound weird now, but on the top, we talked earlier about the Walking Dead game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I gotta say, I don't think I've ever cried at a video game, but I did from that one because, again, but I think that's more down because, again, it being like a visual storytelling perspective thing and
it's
everything.
The dad, isn't it? And
I forget his name now. Oh, it was in the first one, the young girl with the baseball cap and everything, and he's been looking out for her this whole time, and then at the end of the first, I think, part one of that sequence of chapters, he gets infected, and then she has to pull the trigger on him, and I remember that being like, oh my God, it's like I felt, I don't know, like, so weird to have that sort of level of attachment on a video game, but like a story that you've been a part of in a way that's like a film or a TV series type of thing. And that sounds weird. But
I cried and I didn't even play it. I watched my sister play it, and I cried at the ending of how it turned out. I
think there was in some similar kind of thing in the other one as well. There was like an emotional story beat of that, like walking away and leaving the camp or something in another one, but that wasn't as impactful. I remember the other one being a lot more like, oh my God.
But I think as well, your choices were kind of with it. It was like
moral, like, oh, which way do I go? Like, do I shoot? Do I do this choice? Do that choice as well? So it was some of that.
So I blamed Sarah on that one when she did it. I was like,
I think
you've picked the wrong choices. Play it again so that it comes out with a different outcome. But to be fair, I think it's the same outcome. Either way. Yeah.
Sorry, this is how it's written. There's no.
It's like you've done it wrong.
Yeah.
You know me, sucker for a happy ending.
No. So so it's just them two left now, the mother, soon to be mother, and Soo Young. And then there's another bit. I mean, they're walking through a tunnel, aren't they? And you're thinking, right, it could end there. And then
you kind of make up your own
thing.
I also thought the lady that was pregnant at one point was either going to give birth, as she seemed to be struggling and clutching a lot more to her stomach, and I was thinking, oh, she can have a miscarriage or something.
Yeah, something like that is going to occur, and the child's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it didn't go down that route.
I'm glad as well, because I did think, oh no, I don't want to make make the situation any worse. But as they're coming through the other end of the tunnel, there's these other military.
This really got you, didn't it?
In a way, I'm thinking, oh no, because it's like, is it going to be like, this is reminiscent from another zombie film as well, but there was a different context of like, oh, take the shot of this person who isn't actually a zombie, but they get shot anyway because they don't know the context behind it. I won't go into it because something might cover down the line anyway. So
okay.
So I was like, oh, it's like, if it's going to happen, just happen now. Kind of accepting of it, but thankfully, because, which again is quite a poignant thing as well, that Soo Young decides to sing a song that she couldn't finish at the recital or whatever, so that they know, these are actual people, because zombies don't sing.
And I think she wasn't even thinking that though, was she? But she saved her and the lady that's now going to be looking after her. It's lives.
Yeah, I don't think she's purposely doing it because, there's people, I'll just sing.
No.
Yeah, but I think it was just upset because she's just dealing with
grieving.
Yeah.
And also she couldn't finish her song, so now her dad won't be able to see her finish it, so hopefully he'll be there in spirit hearing it.
Yeah. And then they come along and say that she finishes the song and the film ends, and then so they that yep, that's pretty much a good place to stop the film.
And hopefully it makes you think, oh well, the lady's still pregnant, so hopefully she'll have her husband somewhat with her child that she has, so she hasn't lost him and her child.
Now I know there is a sequel to this, but one as if it's impactful, and two, I don't know if it's a direct continuation on, or if it's someone else's story perspective. So I don't know, but I don't know if that's something you're interested in the future. Yeah,
definitely. I know the zombies are horrific, and I did think I was going to have nightmares, but I didn't. Touch wood, not last night, anyways. So we'll see how we get on. But no, I think overall I would want to see, especially if it was Suen again, and
I'd have to look. I don't actually.
I think the other one it would be if it wasn't the same casting, it would be a bit like, well, how come this hasn't been resolved, or is it we've got a different area that is infected now?
Yeah, still. I think it would still be Korea, but whether, like I say, I don't know whether
it's a different city or something that they're not in.
Perhaps, yeah. And I think there's like an animated prequel. Oh. That's like a short version of like maybe that explains like where more about because they touched on like this was a leak or something in like one of the factories or something that caused it. So I think that kind of touches upon that. That I'm not so intrigued by, but more the other one. I'm maybe like interested if it was. I don't know. Maybe if it was a follow up from these characters, or whether it's just someone else's story. Is like, is it work the same way, or is it kind of just treading the same ground?
That's what I was thinking. But if it's the same stories, same characters that you've already invested in, then I feel like
obviously them two with seeing other people,
and then
dealing with how I don't know, but no, good. As a kind of, I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it, but I did.
Yeah, I just realised you hadn't seen it either.
Yeah. So I was going through it thinking, right, okay, is this the premise of it being set on the train and everything? It's like, is it just going to be your typical, kill zombie, move on type of story? But obviously a lot more depth and content to it than your regular old one. Let's say, like, I think being foreign language one as well gives a different sort of perspective of things anyway, as opposed to just American shoot zombies in head, and that's that.
I don't really seem to struggle with Korean or Japanese or like Chinese subtitles, which is strange. I seem to be able to cope with those reading wise, like the pace seems to go quite well, whereas when we did Amelie,
and that's quite
the French
fast. Speed, talk too fast.
Yeah, I was struggling to kind of keep up with that, but I don't know if it's because in Japan sometimes, like, our sentences, they have to say a couple of words.
I don't know. I think it's just how they talk, isn't it? It is kind of somewhat slightly drawn out, if that makes sense. Like how they the pronunciation of things. Yeah. Maybe that's it. I think. Whereas, like, do you remember whatever?
It's very fast paced, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, like a passionate Italian person, like like hey, you're like yeah.
So I do seem to gel more for reading abilities with these, and I do think it adds to it. Whereas I think if they were speaking English now, it would seem like an English dub would seem a bit bizarre.
Yeah, I probably not. I know it's been only 2016, but at any point they'd be like, "Oh, let's do an American remake." They love to do that. Well, they just take a foreign film and make it suitable for the Americans. Just so and then it only ends up being a lot worse.
Yeah.
Because of it.
Just doesn't come across as well, does it?
Yeah. Like Train to San Francisco or something instead of Busan, because he's the context of...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Or Tram, rather, because they have that system, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah. Right then, so score. Ooh.
I like it that you have to go first. Hee.
So as I say, I enjoyed it. The emotional aspect at the end was good. In a way, obviously a bit like it made me feel. If that makes sense. So it wasn't just
a heart.
That's I create some other films, but I wasn't expecting to cry as a zombie film. So
True, very true. No, if
yeah,
at the
very
beginning,
rarely horror films you're not normally doing that because you're normally like, oh, I don't care about these asshole teen characters or whatever. But this one I did. I'm sort of intrigued to see what the other one might offer after the fact, like just been saying. But I think off the first time seeing this, and probably would check it out again in the future, I think, I put it at 8.5.
solid, very very solid. So I think the characters within this really good character building story.
Yep.
Which really makes me enjoy the film a hell of a lot more than if it was just a zombie cliche movie.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And I think you have all the emotions of it. You have the scariness of the zombies and violent blood and gore. But you also have emotions of families being parted and people losing loved ones and building together as a team and trying to defeat them.
Yeah.
And you kind of more on the characters that are trying to bring positive and you drawn to them. You want them to do well within the story. And I think that's driven more so than the actual zombies. The zombies are there because they're the problem.
Yep.
But there's a lot where the zombies aren't there as well. And there could just be a story.
Yeah.
Without the zombies, if that makes sense. It works really well. I really enjoyed it. I cried a lot.
That seems such a strange thing to say, isn't it? I enjoyed it, but I cried.
I enjoyed it, but I cried. It's like Up, isn't it? You enjoy it, but you cry every time.
Yeah.
It's like no brainer. Like if you want to wash your eyes, then put Up on.
Once you don't have a heart, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Then don't talk to me.
If you don't cry at this, you have no soul.
Yeah, don't want to know you as a human. I definitely recommend it for somebody who enjoys horror, but also
absolutely. Yeah.
A different alternative, which I think this is why I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it was just a horror film, I'd have thought nothing of it.
Yeah.
It would have disappeared into Sophie's archives at the back of her head and been put in a box.
Sure.
However, this one will stick with me. So I think scoring wise and Sue-Ann's performance as well, to say she's so young, or was so young, she'll be older now, won't she? Because it was 2016. She's an amazing actress. So I'm going to say...
Going to surprise me again.
It's not going to be 10. No. What do you think my score would be?
Just tell me. And I'll tell you if that's what.
An 8?
Yeah, I would. I was going to say high praise, but I thought you were going to be like it's a 9 or something.
No, I can't give it a 9 just for the fact that it's bloody and gory.
Okay,
but
it's a horror that you enjoyed.
I'd watch it again.
Yeah, and it wouldn't give you nightmares. I
don't think so.
No, coat from the first night. So
yeah. Strange Things gave you nightmares though. So.
Yeah.
Does that say?
Yeah, I gotta say for someone who doesn't like horror and you were fine watching Stranger Things, no problem.
Yeah. When we watched it later on in the night, that's when it was an issue.
Yeah, daytime.
Yeah, daytime viewing.
Yeah. So, well, that's good. Happy with that.
Me too.
Yep, glad you checked it out, and I'm glad that you got some satisfaction out of it as well.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And next week, we've got something exciting because it's somebody's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to try.
Yeah, so what we're going to try and do, I think it is doable, but as we've done, but obviously it's a bit more of a lot going on with busy weekends.
It's not like in lockdown where you could actually just have a movie marathon and watch all three of them back to back.
Yeah. So the idea is obviously to have films in place and watched and everything, and then on the birthday day, then it's my actual birthday. So the episode will be out, but by this point anyway, you'll have picked out your films that we'll be covering. We're doing like a little poll on Twitter because I've got a few options of what we should watch, so down to the public to pick some of them. So we could, and more interactive in that sense. So, be interested to see what turns out from that.
Sounds fun.
And if you would like to check out all our other episodes in the meantime, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you might get your podcasts from.
And if you want to follow us on social media, I mean, if you aren't already, then you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, under the handle SP_filmviewers.
And if you'd like to leave us a nice 5-star review, you can do so on Apple Podcasts and wherever else they do the scoring system.
We also have a Buy Me a Coffee page, and obviously with this person's birthday soon coming up, and since he does all the hard work on our podcast and does all the networking, if anyone wants to wish him a happy birthday, it doesn't have to be a Buy Me a Coffee, it could be a Buy Me a Pint, then anything like that would
some
be,
whiskey.
would be much appreciated.
Yeah, that'd be great if any. Obviously, I'm saying that just because I give me money, but
give me all your money.
Yeah, but a little like birthday surprise of that would be much appreciated. So, but obviously, thank you to all who listened anyway.
We are always
still stick
grateful.
around.
Yeah.
I do hope that you are still enjoying this new on-off format that we have with the what we've seen and what we haven't seen.
I am.
Yep. That's good.
Just thought I'd let you know. Even though I forget that you haven't seen a film, and then and then I'm like wanting to ask you questions and you don't know, then I don't like it.
Well, there you go. That's the point, isn't it?
But I'm used to you knowing, so it's like it throws me off because normally you just watch everything.
No, I've still got a hell of a lot to see. But anyway, in the meantime, thank you very much for listening once again, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.